I mean, it depends on who we're asking, because I've never been married. But my oldest brother, he would say, "Don't waste your money. Just go with the justice of the peace," because he was married like 5 or 6 times. So a lot cheaper. A lot cheaper.
The question of the week is what's the best piece of marriage advice you received early on in your marriage?
So, Dennis, we're going to start with you. Was it get a vasectomy at 25?
It was a vasectomy at like 38. Okay, so like you just calm down there, Charles. I mean, it depends on who we're asking, because I've never been married. But my oldest brother, he would say, "Don't waste your money. Just go with the justice of the peace," because he was married like 5 or 6 times. So a lot cheaper. A lot cheaper.
5 or 6 times.
Yeah, I can't remember how many. It's been too many.
That's too many for sure.
It's his birthday today too, so go figure.
Is he the one that outranked me on the pledge?
No. That's the next brother down. This is my oldest brother, who looks like Sai from Duck Dynasty.
I was going to go and try to wreck his marriage so he wouldn't be able to afford to pledge at the 1200 level, and then I could take over.
Neither one of them is married, actually. So good luck. You can't. They're impervious.
Joe, what's the piece of advice you got early on?
The best piece of advice that I got early on was if your marriage is on the rocks, you're having some struggles, serve your spouse. Like, do service for them. It's not going to hurt anything.
Serve them with papers.
Well,
like
So
with
you
a
better
silver
get
platter, like breakfast in bed, but it's just divorce papers.
so a lot of marital issues stem from selfishness, in my opinion, when you get to the core of it. And so if you are doing service for your spouse, you're putting them first, and you're hopefully being a little bit less selfish. And that if there's some deep-rooted issues, that's not going to fix it. It really won't. But it's not going to hurt the marriage to put your spouse first for a little while.
And who told you that?
My brother.
He already been married successfully.
Yeah. He got married 2000, I believe it was, and to a woman that he got set up on a blind date with, and proposed to her 3 weeks later.
Wow.
Okay, you need to put that under Daddy Tell Me a Story, because that one has never come up in our conversations. So, I will honestly say, I read a piece of advice when I was a kid that seemed to be funny, and it's okay. But in truth, I didn't get any good advice. All we had around us was people in our ears just literally telling us what to do from their failed standpoints. They weren't like, here's some advice and seriously trying to help. They were just telling dumb things and just whatever. So the advice really that we learned from all that was, for me and Aaron, is me and you against the world. And that's what got us through a whole lot of stuff going. I mean, when I talked about something happened with her truck, short story is somebody else hit her vehicle early on in our marriage, and they weren't moving well enough for us. So we got our insurance involved, and they gave us the best price they could and told me how to look up how they got to the price. I mean, there's nothing to lose on our insurance company side because they're suing the other company, right? They're going after, you're going to get there. It's probably going to get more than they gave us. But the second that we got that and I explained it to her and everything, we both agreed on it. And then like the next day she talked to her brother and her father. And then they're like, no, don't cash that check because I mean, just all this bullshit. Sorry. But all this Bob stuff. There you go. It's all this Bob stuff. Stuff by Bob. Okay. That's when we said, I was like, no, we don't listen to anybody else. Because nobody lives here and nobody takes care of us like we take care of us. As long as we're on the same page, forget everybody else. And that's helped out a lot. Now, the advice I read as a kid was in a Reader's Digest, and it was a quip, right? It's one of those little jokes they had in there that you'd flip through and find. But it was like that, some daughter was getting married, blah, blah, and she asked her grandmother, what's the success to a long marriage, and this, that, the other, and the grandmother says you take your list, take a piece of paper, make a list of the 10 things that drive you crazy about them. There's just the worst things that they do, but that's the 10 things you'll forgive them for, and then you throw away the list. And like, all right, yeah, that's kind of interesting. You know, you start. It kind of goes on with what you're saying, Joe. You know, you start with, all right, they do this annoying me, I'll forgive them for that, and then you just don't ever remember the list. So
I would say
there. What would you say?
I would
Bear?
say that a piece of advice that I have heard and have been given, not just for marriage, but also just for regular relationships, the breakup or the divorce word should be like the very last resort. You don't want to bring that up early, because the moment you put that out there, you've basically almost sealed the fate of the relationship,
Yeah.
because now that is in the other person's mind as well. So don't say that word
So what you're
unless
saying,
it's an absolute positive that's what's going to happen.
When she's annoying you and getting on your nerves, you're like, wait, are you saying we should break up? And you just put it back on her and gaslight her? Is that what you're saying?
Be like, wow, I don't know why you brought that up. Wow. I mean, now that you put it in the universe, I guess we
Yeah.
have to. So
Yeah, we basically treat the word divorce as a curse word in our house.
yeah.
We treat it like everything else. We make jokes out of all of it here. I guess it's time to roll some dice.
No, it isn't. We have a speak pipe.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Bob. Is it Bob? Bob's giving the advice.
Bob's giving
that he got?
marriage advice, the 11-year-old. No, it's from my wife.
Hello, wise and nerdy family. Mrs. Underscore here. The best piece of marriage advice we got early on in our marriage was, I believe, from Joe's oldest brother and his wife, and it was to get the king size bed. That has been so amazing in our marriage.
Yes.
We've slept on queens before, just, visiting places.
It's the worst.
Very, very early in our
The
marriage, we had a queen size bed for like 4 months, but then we had our king, and it's been amazing. We love snuggle time, but then we can separate and have our own space for the evening, which has been amazing. We don't roll into each other and wake each other up in the middle of the night. It is the best. So here's the advice: get the king size bed. Have a great night. Bye.
Yep.
This segment brought to you by Big Fig Mattresses. I own one. They're great. Get the biggest one you can, because they last for a while. And Taco Bell, because I want to get invited to the purple carpet. I didn't get invited to
I want a
Little Mouse
Baja
this year.
Blast pie.
No, I don't want the pie, but I absolutely want to go to the Liv Moss festival thing that they did and get invited. That bugged me that I wasn't invited. I promote them all the time.
You know what? If you were a God King, maybe you would have gotten invited.
Oh, stop it. But Joe, have y'all got to the point where you do separate blankets as well? Or you still do one?
We still will do one blanket. Neither of us really tugs in the middle of the night, so we're good.
There's a fix to that. You just have 6 blankets, and then you're gonna get one of them.
My brother and his wife have had separate blankets pretty much their entire marriage, because I can't remember which of them. One of them rolls and takes the blanket with them.
We used the same one forever, and then I don't remember who makes it, but somebody came out with this giant 10-foot by 10-foot, kind of not weighted, but a semi-weighted blanket. And I thought Aaron would love it for like the couch or whatever. And then she wanted to try it on the bed, and I loved it. She ended up not liking it because it doesn't feel like a quilt. It's very thin, but also somewhat heavy. And so ultimately, well, I'm going to keep it. And that's how we ended up that. We haven't gotten to the spot that some people get to of separate rooms. But there's definitely some nights that both of us can go, separate rooms is not the worst idea you could suggest.
I'm sure early on my wife would have preferred separate rooms, because before I got my CPAP, I snored crazy loud. So, yeah.
I know somebody who started out separate rooms, and they're still separate rooms. So whatever.
And I've heard okay things about it. It's a weird concept to me. And
Yeah,
there's
same.
been some go ahead and roll the dice, Joe.
Honey, can we push the rooms together tonight?
But there's definitely been some negative things, even not sharing the blankets. There. And there's positives to it. I really do appreciate my blanket, and knowing that I never accidentally get pulled off of or pull it off or whatever, fluff the blanket or anything like that. But it is what it is.